So just about 1 year ago today, I came up with this brilliant idea to attempt to do 12 30-day experiments, an entire year filled with different self-development practices, things that I'd been neglecting, putting off, or hadn't yet even thought of. The idea wasn't to make all these habits stick all year long, but to simply try new things and push myself to do things that I hadn't done before. And let me tell you, I learned a lot. I screwed up a lot too. So I quit sugar, took cold showers, woke up at 5 a.m. every day. So I'm running on like 5 hours of sleep probably. Meditated for 1 hour a day. This fly was definitely testing me on this meditation. I didn't get it. Journaled. I don't really have any struggles to write about until I did. Tried to build 3 habits at the same time. Honestly, I have not felt this good in a long time. I quit caffeine. I've been thinking about this moment for the past 30 days. Oh my God, stop. I counted every single calorie. Tried intermittent fasting.
There it is. Ah, I can eat. Yay.
Scheduled each minute of my day. I did breath work. I did not expect to get as emotional as I did. And I tried meth every day for 30 days.
So, Natalie and I have been doing meth for 2 weeks now.
No bubbles.
I definitely am feeling some effects from it.
I feel like a MILF.
It's making me much more manic and just willing to do demonic shit.
Minimalist, I'd like to
I have never done meth. I will never do meth. It was not a 30-day experiment. That was Captain Sinbad. He's got an amazing YouTube channel that you should definitely check out. He talks about self-development. But again, yeah, no, I didn't do meth. Make no mistake about all these experiments, they were largely a selfish practice. I was trying to better myself. But along the way, as I shared my learnings with all of you, I started to see thousands of you attempt the same experiments and share your own progress online. So I think it's fair to say that we all collectively learned a lot about how to tackle new challenges, build habits, and most importantly, to try, to push ourselves to do things we never thought we'd have the courage or willpower to do. This is cold shower day 30. I am so excited that this is coming to an end, but I'm proud of myself. I'm proud that I've gotten through it. So as the year winds down and as I finish up my last 30-day experiment, I wanted to break down all of the things I learned, the good things and the bad, the areas where I completely screwed up, so you guys don't have to make the same exact mistakes that I did. Now, my big picture goal, my big vision for next year is to combine all of this into an actionable course to hopefully help you guys change your own lives. So if that's something that you're interested, sign up for my newsletter down in the description below. I'm gonna notify you guys when that is available. But in the meantime, let's just get right into it. So I distinctively remember thinking to myself early on, I'm probably overcommitting here. Do I really want to commit to doing one 30-day experiment back to back to back for an entire year? But then I said, screw it. Let's just give it a shot and see where things end up. So I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what challenges I would yet face, but I just got started. And that's probably the best advice I could possibly give you is don't overthink things. Don't try to think through every hypothetical future problem that you'll face. Just get started. Use that motivation and inspiration, that initial spark to try something new. And then trust me, you will figure out those problems when you get to them. But that's not for right now. Right now is to just take action. And I can tell you firsthand that I made a lot of assumptions about building habits that I eventually realized were wrong. Like back in 2018 when I suggested, if you're able to develop this one habit this month and a new habit next month and so on for an entire year, that's 12 new habits that you've developed and brought into your life. That, as it turns out, was a bit more ambitious than I had thought. It sounded great in theory, but completely impossible in practice. It was difficult enough for me to keep these habits going for 30 days, but to layer them on top of each other and stack them on top of each other over the course of a year was absolutely unrealistic. And the disappointing side of that was that I learned firsthand just how difficult habit change truly is. But then on the positive side, I realized that you actually don't need 12 habits to live a really good life. The sentiment behind my original statement is that it's better to start slow and steady and take things one thing at a time. And that has definitely been proven through my own life experience. Build just one habit at a time instead of trying to tackle 5 in 1 month. If you focus on the right habit, it can cause a ripple effect throughout other areas of your life. You just have to choose wisely where to start for yourself. So if I were to pick 3 habits that have changed my life the most, I would choose exercise, eating healthy, and working on my business. And I would count working on my business as a habit because it was something that I had to build into a routine that I had to do every day, regardless of how much money I was making. And for all of these habits, that was the greatest investment I made, was to work on them when I didn't feel like it, when I didn't have the time, when I didn't think things were actually gonna work out. When I showed up and just did the small things each day, that's when I saw the biggest growth in the long run. It wasn't from journaling daily or waking up at 5 a.m. When I built the habit of exercising on a regular basis back in college, that changed everything for me. That was the spark that led to so many other positive changes in my life. It was just doing one very simple thing on a regular basis. Now, the 3 habits that helped me out the most are for me. And I heard from you guys in the comments over the past 12 months the things that have really helped to change your own lives. And I took note and even tried many of them. You guys said that waking up at 5 a.m., doing intermittent fasting, and journaling every day were absolute game changers. And I believe it. But as I tried those things for myself, I learned they didn't help me nearly as much. Which is really important because we often hear what's worked for others, especially those who have achieved some level of success, and we think that's the reason why they became successful. The truth is that there are hundreds and hundreds of factors that go into someone's success. Some that are controllable, others that aren't. Some are completely already built upon a scrawny frame, so too can mental and emotional strength. It takes work though, and courage, to face these failures and shortcomings. The only real way to strength is through pain. I'm gonna break down all the practical things I learned about habit change in my next video, but I do think it's worth mentioning just how truly difficult it was to do each of these experiments back to 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 back. I was really hard on myself to stay consistent and keep up with each of these challenges and stay committed every single day.
Matthew hated himself. when he missed a day. I actually was kind of like, why? You know, like, oh, you said you were gonna do something and you don't do it. It's kind of the story of my life. But I guess I didn't understand the commitment. Like, it's something that it's self-imposed. So, like, why?
Even with my desperate loyalty to these challenges, I failed a lot. I missed days. Like when I was journaling every day while traveling at the same time. We'd come back at the end of a long day, 11 o'clock at night, and I'd scribble down a few notes into my journal and be like, well, there it is, I journaled. That counts, right? And then I'd feel immediately guilty for not really showing up, for failing to commit to my challenges. And that started to weigh on me in a way that was probably unhealthy. Along the way, I was open and transparent about these failures, but I still put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself to follow through even when things weren't working out. Part of that is because of my desire to want to make a really great video. The other part was my ambition and drive to do things the quote-unquote right way. And this is what happens to me all the time when I try to wake up early, or if I try to build a habit, I try to start exercising, eventually something's gonna happen. You're gonna get sick, you're gonna travel, you're gonna go on vacation, and you're gonna get jet lag, and you're not gonna be able to keep up with the same exact routine that you've been trying to build. This was just a reminder that I need to put my health and my wellness first above this religious dedication to an arbitrary challenge. Managing my own crazy high expectations and not getting too hard on myself when things weren't going according to plan became a challenge in and of itself. I had to continually remind myself that this is just a part of the process. If I wasn't getting the results that I was looking for, or if I kept failing and messing up, that was okay. It's okay to fail. And that is something that I'm continuing to learn. But the older I get, the more I realize that putting this kind of crazy pressure on yourself to be perfect, if that's even a thing, is probably not going to make you happy in the long run. So if you did the math at the beginning of the video, you'll realize that I actually failed to reach my goal of doing 12 30-day experiments. I fell one short and did 11. You see, at the beginning of the year, I didn't have a plan for what I wanted to do for all 12 months. I just got started. And as I got started, a lot of the early ones were really excited. I had like a nervous excitement about quitting sugar and doing the cold showers or quitting caffeine. Like, they were really fun to me. And as I started to check these off the list, I found that there were fewer and fewer things that I was really excited to try. Hence why I ended up only doing 10. I stopped a little bit short. And that's kind of what I'm taking into this next year, that even if you do make a commitment to something and you really give it a shot, you don't always have to follow through. This is what Seth Godin calls the dip. Even when you battle through those really difficult parts, then you realize that, is it something worth continuing? Is it something that you truly enjoy? Or is it something that's worth quitting so you can dedicate your time to other things you're really interested and passionate in? So next year I'll probably do a couple 30-day experiments, but definitely not nearly as many as I've done this past year. Truthfully, it was just exhausting in the long run. Out of all these experiments that I played with this past year, there were a few that actually stuck, like quitting sugar. Well, obviously sugar is still a part of my diet. It's a much smaller role. The second thing was meditating. While I don't meditate every day, I wish I did, I do meditate a lot more often than I was. And the final thing was scheduling every minute of my day. I still continue to keep track of my calendar and schedule things out on a 30-minute basis. And even though I didn't implement and bring all of these habits into my life every single day going forward, there was something that I learned from each and every one of them. And the only way, the absolute only way for you to find out whether they'll work for you is to give it a try for yourself. So a couple things before I wrap up here. If you've got any experiments you want me to try next year, I'm probably gonna be doing a couple more. Let me know in the comments any ideas you have. Do not say try meth for 30 days. I'm not gonna do it. I don't care how much you guys bully me. The other thing I would say, have you tried any of these experiments yourself or other ones that I hadn't tried? I would love to hear from you guys about what you've learned about habit change and experimenting. Like, that would certainly help me out a lot, and I know it would help other people in the comments below who are trying to build habits for themselves. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't tell you how crazy it's been over the past year, the growth of the channel, just the community, how amazing and polite and respectful people have been in the comments. It's just so cool to see people genuinely excited about self-development and trying a lot of these things for yourself. Like, it means the most to me when I get comments from people who say that my videos or the ideas that I've talked about on the channel have helped them in some way. Like, that to me is just, it's mind-blowing. I'm incredibly fortunate, and I will never be ungrateful for what you guys have given me. So thank you so much for everything that you've done to change my life this past year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.